The meeting will be streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page. We opened this meeting tonight on a very sad note. The mayor's wife, Sandy Atkinson, mother of Greg and Drew Atkinson, has passed. She was a prominent Wyoming resident and a 40-plus years active member of the Fair Board. May we have a moment's silence in honor of Sandy, please? Thank you. Rest in peace, Sandy. The town has today lowered the flag at the municipal office in recognition of Sandy. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. I will remind council to declare a pecuniary interest at the proper time. Okay, we have delegations.
Correct, just one this evening, your worship.
Sorry?
Just one, it's
Just the one.
just the one, yep.
So, Zoom, that's the only face that I don't recognize. So, Mel, how do you say your name? Allman. Okay. Welcome and listen to you now.
Thank you. I just say next slide kind of thing. So, okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Matt Van Dolen with PSD Citywide, certified asset manager, and here to speak about a component of asset management. I'm sure all of you have heard this for many years, and now you're on to one of the final components of the regulation through the ORIG that has just been launched here. And I believe your final asset management plan is coming here shortly. But in order to support a lot of that asset management planning and what's required through the province to continue on asset management planning with updates to that asset management plan every 5 years, one of the biggest components that you guys are being asked to look at is setting levels of service and then setting indicators that support that level of service of which you want to provide for the services that you bring forward, right? And what's one of the largest things, it is the main component of what municipalities do. Currently, the town is running the asset system that allows us to bring in all the different assets from your roads to your street or to your signs to your facilities to everything that you have. Okay, and it is required to have all of that component. But what we're really missing is the maintenance component of the assets. So we know what the cost is to replace these from a full replacement cycle, but not all the different maintenance or operating components to support those assets throughout the life before you replace them, right? And it's a major component. And it's a lot of savings that you can have as well if we hit that right asset at the right time, doing the right intervention. Okay, if we miss it, the most optimal times usually get skipped. Next slide. So one of the biggest things we want to look at from the town's perspective, and this is right across the province, this is something that has grown considerably. And instead of doing the paper-based sort of inspections, condition assessments, that kind of stuff, it's trying to mobilize the field staff out there to capture this stuff, to help us with any service requests that might come in from the public, to make sure we're maintaining that and getting that done on a timely basis of whatever the level of service you guys decide to set for that. So some of the things that the staff want to be able to do is look at creating service requests, having it logged through the system. So whether that's done over the phone, whether that's coming in from an email, whether that's something that's set on your website. Okay, and that's all for you guys to discuss later to say how you want to roll that out. But it's definitely trying to modernize that and moving that out into a system instead of tracking it on an email or on a post-it note or whatever it might be. Okay, and then how does that work then into a work order or a preventative or scheduled maintenance event that might come next as well? Okay, looking at all the projects that we're doing, looking at route patrolling. which is one of the, through the minimum maintenance standards that you guys have to do and report back to the province. There's certain things that we have to complete at certain times. So tracking that through the system back to the same assets that we have in that asset management plan to understand what the next interventions that could happen based on what we're doing in the field on the operational component. And obviously, sorry, next slide too. I'm trying to do this, actually, I'll go to the next one. That was just more for your reading, okay? But looking at this, not just from our roads perspective, looking at it from our facilities, our waters, our storm assets. Storm is such a big thing right now, right? All those 1 in 100 year storms that we seem to get every 2 years now. That is a huge impact on our infrastructure. So how do, when the storm happens and when before and after the storm happens, what does that look like into our infrastructure and how are we capturing that, whether it's inspections or whatnot that we're doing right after those storms? But it's also bringing in any beautification areas. So your tree inventories, your natural assets, and what does that impact is on our assets. We want to be able to track that, track the maintenance and work that we're doing on that, what that impact is back to the levels of service. Sidewalks, all the trip hazards and things that we want to be aware of, right? So in the system, it allows the staff to go out, drive, walk the sidewalks, mark the deficiencies that happen along the way, put the spray paint on, depending on the type of class of either the road, the trail, or the sidewalk, depending on how you guys have that set. It says here's the timing that we want to make sure we meet as part of the minimum maintenance standards to correct that intervention or deficiency, if you would. Next slide. So just gives you kind of a flow of what we want to be able to set up and have in the system. So from a call taker to the integrations into then where does it go next to help the workflow? So it's just modernizing some of the workflows that we have currently instead of going through an email, going through a phone call, post a note again. So taking that call in the system, tracking it through the integration, going to the supervisor, manager of that area, okay? Anyone who's here in business, we know we have all these things set up right now in our own businesses to say, okay, what's the next thing that needs to happen after this happens or that happens? Putting it out to the field staff and then reporting back on all of that information we're capturing out in the field instead of writing it down, coming back and giving it to someone in the office that then has to key it into the system and then tag it against an asset or whatever it might be. So it's really trying to modernize that whole step process, right? So just again, a little bit more elaborating on how some of the efficiencies and workflows for the staff. And again, back to the assets. So I'm not going to go through all those. Obviously, you've probably read it or you might have questions on it. So I'll save that for after. So just next slide. One of the biggest things too is to help you guys with making decisions. So how do we use the data when we start capturing it in the system again, instead of on a post-it note or in a report that we're trying to take that data and bring it all together? How do you get quick updates? So whether it's, looking at our city roads and what's happening to those roads over the time, or what the amount of service requests that are coming, what types of service requests are we getting from the public more often? You can see where we're up from year to date to month to date, to all the different types that we might be getting. And why is that happening? Right? Maybe that's because some of the infrastructure we're not repairing when we need to repair it. And there's all different reasons for that. I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong, but this allows you to start having indicators, so to see what's happening out in that infrastructure or on that infrastructure from a service standpoint from your citizens. Okay. Slide. Again, more council information. So the cool thing about this system too is that it allows the staff or even yourselves, depending on how this is all set up, to basically click on any of those widgets down below, see what that service request is, where the timing is, who's updated it, where has it gone, has it gone to a work order? If you guys decide to go with a online platform that allows citizens to submit those requests, they can even get updates from the staff through the mobiles or through their desktops right to that portal where they can get updates on the notes or what's happening, when I plan to go and fix that issue. If I need to connect with them, it just makes it so much easier and intuitive for the staff to be able to do that. Okay, next slide. Field operations in real time. There's a ton of savings that happens with this because we all have phones. We're all getting used to doing work on our phones and those types of things, whether it's a tablet. Great thing about this is there's mobile applications that go out for any of the staff that are out in the field. It doesn't even have to be a mobile application that has data plans. So what can happen with this is that you could even have tablets with it. Folks can upload all their data and information, work orders, service requests, inspections, all that they need right here or wherever they have a Wi-Fi signal, go out into the field, do their work, come back to wherever they are and sync all that data back up. Again, supposed to save administration time instead of coming back, handing in papers and then someone taking it from there, trying to key it in. Trying to read some of the writing that comes on those pages as well, as some of us may know. I've done this for a long time. Next page. Customization. So the great part about this is that the systems here that which the town is looking at is they're not designed or been manipulated to work for municipalities. This has been designed with at least 6 municipalities for, and out of the province with 444 municipalities, 365 use these systems. And probably the only ones that don't are those that are really, really tiny, more northern than anywhere. Okay. You guys sit in that average bubble of population size, but again, with all the services you provide, you're the same as the city of London in a lot of cases, right? Much smaller staff to still deliver the same services. So it makes it even harder for you guys to deliver those same services than a larger city that has a lot more staff and resources. But the idea is just to be able to track it, maintain it still, and make sure that that reporting is all getting back to everyone from senior leadership to council right in the system. Slide. Dashboards. So again, for different department heads or division leads, managers, I even have a lot of folks that leave this in lunchroom. So you can kind of see dashboards up on the TV in the lunchroom saying, hey, how many service request work orders have we been able to do this month compared to last month? So it's a pat on the back for a lot of those folks. So it gives, again, just communication between staff, senior leadership and council to understand what's going on. And then obviously back to the citizens to make sure we're tracking and updating that on a timely basis. Next slide. So I talked about the route patrol earlier. This is a regulatory component that the town has to do. With route patrol, there are patrolling that we have to do on a timely basis, depending on the class of roads. I'm sure you guys all know that. Your staff definitely do. This allows folks to go out in the field with that tablet or device in the vehicles, start driving. It'll mark where they go, when they went over that road. So that way, if there was an accident, there was something kind of issue, your risk mitigation has been logged, documented in the system. If there is deficiency that is marked on a certain road, class of road, it'll look to whatever the minimum maintenance standards are to say, here's the timing that we have to fix that. Folks get notified, their dashboards get notified, they can get notifications off of it, those failure codes get done, the automation just happens to ensure that this gets done on a timely basis. Okay, especially with winter patrolling and everything as well. Okay, whole other can of worms, but next slide. I just wanted to talk about this because this is something that actually has been really relevant in a lot of conferences just recently, whether it's MFOA, whether it's with FCM, I'm trying to think of all the other ones that we go to. But one of the biggest things is looking to how do we start using a maintenance management type of system in place to help us with that level of service reporting. And there's so many talks out there. There's lots of webinars out there that is educating people on how do we do this and how does that have an impact on when we start creating those levels of service. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know your updated asset management plan is going to be coming forward. And in that plan, part of it is that you do have to have a proposed level of service. You have to have a financial strategy that meets that proposed levels of service. And a lot of this indication that you're going to start tracking in that type of a system like this will actually support, okay, what is actually able to be achieved. Right? So anyways, I just wanted you to have that as kind of ideas to think about of how this can also use into your next stage. Next slide. At the end of the day, it's improved operations and improved reporting that again can share between staff, between citizens, between senior leadership, and of course yourselves as council to make those decisions.
Is that the end of your?
I think that's all I had time.
Is that it?
Yeah, I was given 15, so I tried to stick with it. I can go forever if you want.
Well, that's good. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I guess My only question is what costs and things like that, and what are the maintenance fees, all that kind of stuff. So would that come back to us in a report in the future, or sorry, I don't know who to ask.
Well. I think at the time.
At budget time?
Oh, I see. Okay.
I
So
can
it-
speak to that if you,
Go ahead.
so the reason why we asked Matt to come today was we wanted to give council an idea of what we're hoping will happen in 2026. There's a lot of work to get a system like this up and running. So you would get a full report about the costs. The annual fees are around $20,000 to $25,000. The current system that we use for sidewalk inspections, that has an annual cost about $13,000 to $15,000. So it would be an increase, but this program would deliver a lot more modules that we'd be able to take advantage of. And the key why I would like this program, staff would like this program, is because it integrates into the asset management system that we are already using to track all the assets. So for example, the sidewalk inspections are done in a separate system, so it doesn't flow into the asset management system that we use. So everything's separate, so it's not very efficient. So then the data isn't updated as the inspections are done. It's just one example. But to answer your question, yes, the full report would come later.
Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I will just make some comments on it. I certainly support this type of a system. Oh, I think you mentioned it in your presentation about the size of this community. We're not very big. I worked under this type of system for many, many years, work order systems and stuff like that. But the input to this kind of a system takes a lot of time and several people, because everything has to be inputted, right? Especially the work order system, you have the input to the thing, and the supervisors have to input it to the workers, and the workers have to input back, in the final document. So it's quite time consuming. And like, we don't have a lot of public works employees. And that's the other thing that concerns me, just how long it's going to take to get these employees on board with this type of system. Because I mean, they're out there with the shovel, they're out there with the brooms, they're out there, they're not sitting in at a computer input. And the system I worked under, that's how you operate. You went in the morning and you got the work order, and that's what you did. You didn't do anything else, right? Your work orders that came out that day, that was planning. Now, if something come up during the day, they have break-in work orders. That had to be all approved by head supervisors before you could do a break-in job. So what I see in this is going to be quite time consuming, but I think the benefits will be good for especially the public works part. I don't know about all the other stuff there. Not really into that kind of stuff, but yeah, we'll see how it works out. But
Great comments, and you're not wrong to some degree. It is a different way to work. This system, it's not an antiquated system by any means. There's workflows that are all built into the system. It actually helps once the setup is done. It eliminates the multiple touches actually, and the way it. So I'm not saying it's going to make everything streamlined and perfect by any means, because it all depends on what you do from a budget standpoint to set it up. Because sometimes it's just back on you guys to do that, right? But there is workflows that are built into the system. So that service request automatically goes to one person. You need it to. Once that's approved, it can automatically be assigned, and in the system automatically generates to that individual, and that individual goes out in the field. And there might be 6 things they're updating on their mobile app when they're out in the field, which chances are they're already either writing down somewhere or bringing back and telling someone in person, and they're kind of trying to remember it when they came back.
the other things I would just touch on a little bit here is like our water and our sewer systems are kind of separate from the outdoor maintenance stuff we have contracted for. And that,
Correct.
would they'd be involved in this whole thing?
So I don't want to speak out of turn again on this, but with a lot of other communities, same type of thing. So, which contractor are you? Jacob. So I have. So in a lot of other communities, when that agreement comes back up, and if you have a good working relationship with that company, then yes, you want to see how can we bring them on board to make sure that any of that information now is getting into the system too, because then it'll automatically come back to the asset management component as well. However, even if they're not using the mobile apps and all that kind of stuff out in the field, if they can provide it in a format, then your staff can actually take it and upload it, and you still get that good maintenance information tied to it to still help you with your long-term financial planning.
Yeah, and my point there would be that since they're a separate contractor, it's gonna take them time, inputs, people to do this same kind of stuff, feedback to us, so.
And it's already tracking that data now, so to be honest, it won't take any longer than it already is. If anything, it could actually speed up some of that tracking, because it's again automated in the system.
If I'm not mistaken, Lambton Shores uses this program and Jacobs is already using it in Lambton Shores.
That's correct.
Yeah. Anyways, as I said in the beginning, yeah, I think this is the future. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and that's just it. And we are keeping an eye out on any grants that potentially come forward too, that support in any of this. Okay, and that's what we always try to make sure that we're helping with the town to utilize those wherever possible.
Mr. Rogen?
Thank you. Yeah, just a clarification question for Christine. So that current sidewalk maintenance expense will be replaced so that it'll help minimize that impact of the increase because we're getting rid of that one.
Correct.
Thank
There
you.
is
Yeah, the
also,
only, oh, sorry, go ahead.
that's the maintenance, the annual fee. There will be a cost to implement the system as well, because it will take a lot of work, and Citywide will provide a lot of training to staff to get that up and running smoothly. I think a key thing we'll have to focus on is the training so that everybody's on board, so that it flows really well, in order for the project to be successful.
Sure. Thank you.
Just for clarity, the existing program isn't intended to only be used for sidewalks. When it was purchased a number of years ago, it was intended to be used very similar to this. It is limited in its ability. We also use it for GPS tracking of winter maintenance vehicles, etc. So it's not necessarily just sidewalks. We do try to use it in other ways. But in discussions with our staff, this program is much more efficient and user-friendly than what we're currently using.
Anyone else? Any questions? This sounds like a really great program. It sounds like we can eliminate quite a few stuff.
Maybe not, yeah, maybe you could lose any. But you won't lose any because that'll be easier, so.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and we'll certainly hear from staff about it, I'm sure. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Okay. So you're good. Are we not gonna do the minutes first? We have some people present that we need to address, and if council doesn't mind, we're gonna go a little bit out of order. Okay, and not someone yet, but yes, okay, all right. So it's
8.10.
8.10, if anybody's interested. Thank you, clerk.
Point 10.
Moved by Vasey, seconded by Rodriguez, that the report prepared by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated September 17, 2025, regarding the annual contractual amendment of the current operations, maintenance, and management services with Jacobs be received, and that the attachment amendment number 11, being an extension of the existing contract and base fee increase, be approved by council. Any questions about this? Go ahead, Ms. Rodriguez.
I just had one question on about the 120 days notice during the 5-year term. Could you maybe elaborate on that a little bit? I didn't really see a lot on them.
Silva.
Yeah. Through the chair, the 120 days notice just provides both Jacobs and the town the ability to cancel the contract by mutual agreement. That's just one of the terms that are included in the contract. So I guess my point was, although we're signing up for 5 years, we do have flexibility in there that if something changed drastically, we could within 4 months terminate the contract.
Yeah, no, I guess more to the point, I did understand that, like, does there have to be a reason or no reason? It sounds like there needs to be a reason that you would want to terminate
And I don't believe that there needs to be a specific reason. It could be, yeah. They could also do it.
Yeah.
to
Either party. Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about this? Oh, all in favor? Carried. So you can stay for the entertainment if you like.
We will let you have all the fun.
Thank you. Right. So now we'll go back to the minutes. It's okay, 6.2, 6.1, sorry. Moved by Rodriguez, by VC, that the minutes be adopted by council and that those confidential minutes of the closed sessions of council remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Minutes of September 3rd, 2025, planning public zoning bylaw 38 of 2024 in Layton Street. And regular, closed regular and J. Ferguson drain minutes on September 10th, 2025. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We're at 6.2 committee meeting. Moved by Mr. Wolbert, second by Mr. Van Claveren, that the minutes be adopted by council and that those confidential minutes of the closed sessions remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. The minutes of June 13th for the Parks and Rec Committee. The minutes July 10th, 2025 of the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery. Fire Executive Meeting of August 11th and the Special Events Committee of August 11th. Parks and Rec Committee Meeting of August 21st. And the Court of Revision Park Drain, Section 76 of September 10th, 2025, and the Court of Revision of the Waterside Estates on September the 10th. Any questions on these? Any here? Can we approve these?
Did you want us to approve?
Yeah. Please.
All those in favor.
Thank you. Bear with me, will you please?
I waved him in. He's
Oh.
good.
I don't know who it is.
I presume for the drainage.
Okay, councilors' reports. Mr. Wolbert.
We had cemetery committee meeting since the last council meeting. Any real big things there, not many complaints from there. We are in the process of installing a couple of new benches over at the cemetery. Benches are in, but the bases have not been installed yet, so that's probably going to be happening as we speak. Other than that, we had a big discussion around trees again, and I had told them that the deputy mayor may donate some money to help get some trees from.
For it first.
I did, and you said thank you.
I said we.
Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Van Claveren?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Mr. Vasey?
Yes, just like to comment on the fair. Thought it was very well done this year. Ryan's booth was extremely busy, so the numbers were up all around, so that was good. The pie auction, some guy suckered me into buying a pie. Some fast talking politician guy, so that was good. And at Parks and Rec, nothing really, we're just kind of winding down from the summer. We got a report on like where all parks were at and getting caught up on stuff that didn't get done, so that was good. I don't know what we're called anymore, but the Kamlaki Rink Committee, Kamlaki Recreation. We met last night and moving forward with waiting for the Optimists to make a few decisions, whatnot, but that group is still going, so that's that. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you. Yeah, so another trails meeting where doing all the logistics now. I'm looking forward with design and print for trails for Lambton County, all of Lambton County. Interesting. There's a new manager at Lambton Public Health who seems to have taken a keen interest in kind of wanting to absorb Lambton County trails into something.
Be a cyclist. Are you a cyclist?
Absorb, no, like
What do you-
change the whole dynamics
Oh,
and kind of absorb it under Lambton Public Health's umbrella. So there's a lot of big changes kind of happening. So we'll get a fulsome report on that in another couple of weeks, I think, or so. And then had a rather busy St. Clair Conservation Authority meeting as well.
mhm. You. Yes, Mr. Bougen.
Yeah, I'm still awake over here. I just to echo, I know committee reports, just to echo Councillor Vasey to thank you to the Fair Board for another great year. And then of course the organizers that came lucky summer send off. They had a great year as well.
Yeah, it was very busy that summer send off, yes. And the fair was very busy too. I was very busy at the end of it too. Might add. I had a
Yes, you were.
right, yes. I was, the Plympton-Wyoming Historical Society will have a World War I military display at the Petroleum Discovery on Saturday, October the 4th. And then at the Lambton Heritage Museum on October the 18th. And that's about all I've got to report. Does any staff want to add anything at all, or? Okay, we're done then. No accounts at this time? So we have a motion now by Mr. Van Claveren, seconded by Mr. Bovet, that the report prepared by Adam Sabansky, Chief Administrator Officer, dated September 12, 2025, regarding a municipal flag policy for the town of Plympton, Wyoming, be received, and that council adopts policy number 95. Any questions on this? Questions? Everybody approved? Oh, I didn't see your hand up.
I was approving.
Sorry, okay.
He's
Mr. Van
approving.
Claveren. Oh, you're approving.
Yeah, sure.
And you're approving too?
Yeah, everybody's approving.
I only see two hands up.
You didn't call it yet.
They want you to say.
All in favor? Oh, now I see them.
That's
Thank you
the
very
trigger.
much. Yeah, okay. Can you tell I don't do this often? Agreement for mobile devices. Moved by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Vasey, that the report prepared by Adam Sabansky, Chief Administrative Officer, dated September 12, 2025, regarding an agreement for mobile devices and services with Rogers Communication Canada, Inc. be received, and that by law 99 of 2025 be taken as having been read 3 times, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. I'm sure there'll be some questions on this one.
Yeah, I can certainly understand why the switch. There's no doubt in my mind, I fell on both my devices, my wife's and mine, and I switched mine already last fall, Christmas time, and I recently switched hers for much of the same type of reasons, or what do you call it? Reception almost everywhere we went, so, and no satisfaction from Bell, and no answers, to be quite honest with you. And when shopping around, I'm not gonna say who I switched to, but I think that's fair to say here in this forum, but certainly saved myself a bit of money too, switching, so I don't know what this is gonna cost us to switch, or probably a cancellation. Is there a cancellation?
Through the chair.
Sure.
We're currently past contract. There will be 1 or 2 devices which have been purchased in the last few years, which may have some contract left on them, but the majority of our devices are out of contract. So there should be moderate to minimal switching costs. It definitely will not exceed the annual savings that are expecting.
But, I'll just say finally, it's kind of a shame that with the Bell here, that when you make the complaint, you get the same answer. Well, there's really nothing we can do about it. And then they lose business. Like, it don't make sense if you want to maintain business. So they're a big outfit, but. And I guess what I did do too, I took a look at Rogers and just found out who owns them to make sure we weren't going south of here doing business, and certainly not. So it's Canadian family, majority owned for sure by the Rogers family, and we probably all have it on our RSPs and stuff like that.
Good for you, Bob.
So
Homework.
I did my homework. So anyway, I think it's a good move for the town. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions? Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you. So, I guess my concern is just, with the fire services, obviously they've had a lot of issues too with communications and different types of communications, I understand, wouldn't fall into this, but certainly this will affect the management teams that we see those. Was the fire truck under Bell as well? The trucks?
Yes, all mobile devices, including the mobile devices that the fire department utilized, were under Bell.
So
All
this
mobile
is-
devices, including the fire department, will be moving to Rogers.
yeah, so that's good because they. And then my other question is how many phones are gonna be replaced with this switch over? Because you can just switch services without.
We know of at least 2 or 3 phones which are at end of life, but we typically do not schedule switchovers for phones. They are replaced when they are typically getting the 4 to 6 year mark where they start to slow down. And that also depends on the user, how many apps they use, what they use the phone for. So we don't have a specific flip period. It's when they become damaged. The upgrades to them are so sufficient that the user starts to know they slow down.
Can I go to Mr. Bougen?
Sure.
Next. He's had his hand up for a while.
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to echo the cost savings make it a no-brainer, but if there is any sort of opportunity with an exit interview with our friends at Bell, I'm sure we can make it clear that this is their own doing because there's no service, so they need to change something.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Bentley.
Yeah, you didn't take one of my questions. So
Okay.
it is, the rates for being shown, is this like a one-time thing and then the rates are gonna jump next year because they got us on board like every other thing you sign up for that they tempt you to come over and then whack you?
Through the chair, if I may, this is not a contract necessarily directly with the town of Plympton-Wyoming. This is a contract that Rogers Health has with the province of Ontario. Any province of Ontario contract, they require that that company offers those rates to the greater public sector, which we are considered. So these are negotiated rates, standard rates, like for the term of that negotiated period, which I think is a 10-year commitment for those rates.
All right, thank you.
It's good length of time.
Maybe just one little quick question. I know Rogers have had a couple of crashes in the last couple of years. I don't know if they've dealt with that. I'm hoping they have. I don't know if you could even answer that, but yeah.
I know through the media that they've said they've dealt with it. But if we can't connect to their network, it doesn't matter how good their network is. And right now we can't connect to the Bell network in like half of the community at times, so.
Okay. Is that it? No more questions on that? More comments about that? Mr. Sabansky? Okay.
No, ma'am.
So all in favor? Carried. You? Before we start into all the drainage stuff, there's someone present who has come in. It's Debbie Harrison Rumsberger.
Yes, I was wondering if I could just have a few short minutes.
Yeah, a few short minutes is no problem at all. What is it about?
Do I take
Yes, yeah,
Thank you.
it's about Hillsborough.
I want to introduce myself to you all in person. I'm Debbie Harrison Bromberger. I think I got to know most of you virtually and in hard copy sometimes during one of the previous issues that we've had come before your board. And I want to thank you for the strength of your decision. It was unanimous. It was based on sound planning principle. And even though the outcome was different than what we would have liked, your leadership is deeply appreciated. So thank you for that. I did want to alert you to one thing. Of course, you're aware that much of the jurisdiction of Plympton-Wyoming Township, particularly Hillsborough, has some issues coming up, is within the jurisdiction of the St. Clair Regional Conservation Authority. And I received a number of calls over the weekend and visits, which I must say kept me from doing the cement work on our log cabin. So thank you for that. But it seems that a rule was adopted on a split vote at the council meeting, the authority meeting on Thursday night. And which is why I learned late I couldn't get on your agenda, so I apologize. We already have a protection from any question of conflict of interest in the Ontario Municipal Code. And it applies to conservation authorities as well as municipal boards and many, many more. It meets the standard for the legal definition of a conflict of interest. But at the Conservation Authority meeting, an item was brought up that basically would silence your voices, which means it would silence our voices. And what it says basically is on any appeal that comes to them, the person who represents the jurisdiction may not participate in any way in the discussion or the voting on that appeal. And I'm sorry, I was trying to check if I could find your guest internet, but I didn't. So I have a block with this. It's a assumed bias or an impression of a bias. It doesn't really explain what bias is. But
if I may, it's called apprehension of bias. Apprehension of bias is the definition, or is the name.
so our little community, because we know that the Conservation Authority is going to be an important stop for the future of the area around us, are very concerned. We didn't have enough time to get letters or to get phone calls in, but we want you to know that Miss Nettie, you ask the greatest questions. You ask probing questions. You may not always get the right answer, but you ask the right question. And I don't want to lose that. Hillsborough doesn't want to lose that. None of the areas where anyone is looking to our elected local representatives to take our voice to the next opportunity for input that cannot be silenced. So that's all I wanted to say. Again, thank you so much. You guys have been just make me proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, certainly can't knock that, can we? Thank you for all your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next time, just call staff. You get on the agenda. How's that?
Yes, I will do that. Yeah, it was Thursday night. So.
No, that's okay. We really appreciate hearing all your comments. Like, we don't often get too many positive.
We'll try and get something together for your consideration because we'd love to see that vote revisited. It was a split vote. There were members missing, but your voices are our voices. So,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so, well, yes,
If I may,
yeah,
as it is a conservation authority matter, I don't know if it's appropriate for our member to talk to the general manager or I can, but it would probably be a good idea to get the general manager to provide some context to the decision that was made. That way council understands the scope
Mhm.
of what
what's
had been
going on?
discussed and what Ms. Rumberger is referring to.
Yeah.
And then if there's action to be taken, staff can accordingly direct staff to do that.
Right, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you very much.
you're going to go into the drainage stuff, okay? Moved by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Vacy, that the report by Jessica Wilson, Executive Assistant, Public Works, dated September 15, 2025, regarding petitions for drainage works by owners, Hillcrest Heights, be received, and that council accepts the petitions as filed for 4669, 4629, 4705, 4667, 4639, and 4643 Lakeside Street. And that staff forwards the petitions to R. Dobbin Engineering, Inc. to make an examination of the area requiring drainage and prepare a report in conjunction with the other Hillcrest Heights properties. Any questions on this? I just know that there's been drainage problems up there for years and years and years. This is about time. Okay. So, all in favor? Carried. Moved by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Vacy, that the report prepared by Ryan Tamming, Drainage Coordinator, dated September 2025. Dated is there a date for this or just September? Okay, well, regarding
September 10, sorry.
September 10, okay. And it's regarding the Field View Estates drain tender be received, and that the tender from William Johnson Construction Limited for $37,680.42, including HST, be accepted, and the bylaw 100 of 2025 be approved and taken as having been read 3 times, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. Glenn. Moved by Mr. Vacy, seconded by Mrs. Rodriguez, that the report by Jessica Wilson, Drainage Clerk, dated September 10, 2025, regarding the requests for apportionment of drainage assessments be accepted, and that the attached agreement for apportionment of drainage assessment due to severance of land for the Greenlease drain be approved by council. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. Moved by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Vacy, that the report prepared by Ryan Tamming, Drainage Coordinator, dated September 15, 2025, regarding the 2025 road culvert replacements tender be received, and that the tender from Murray Mills Excavating and Trucking Limited for $129,693.49, including HST, be accepted, and that bylaw 101 of 2025 be taken as having been read 3 times, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign said bylaw accordingly. And are there any questions? All in favor? Carried. Mr. Tamming's been busy. Moved by Mr. Vacy and seconded by Mr. Rodriguez, that the report prepared by, that the report prepared by Ryan Tamming, Drainage Coordinator, dated September 15, 2025, regarding the McAndrew Drain Maintenance Tender be received, and that the tender from Murray Mills Excavating and Trucking Limited for $157,318.60, including HST, be accepted, and that bylaw 102 of 2025 be taken as having been read 3 times, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Mr. Vacy, seconded by Ms. Rodriguez, that the report prepared by Norma Roddick, Priest Treasurer, dated August 19, 2025, regarding Public Works Department surplus vehicles or / equipment be received, and that the listed items be deemed surplus and auctioned off on the website, government. Any questions on this? Ms. Rodriguez?
Just a quick comment. Just that we promote it locally also. Just that we advertise this product locally. Often if they're not part of the mailing list or they're not a regular customer, they would never see it.
You, that Ms. Rodriguez? I don't know why. I got your name in my. Got that, Norma?
Yes.
Thank you. Very much. Yeah. Are there any other questions?
When you're referring to locally, are you suggesting that we do so through social media and our webpage or take out an ad in the local newspaper?
I'd say the local newspaper also, yes. But all those other social media could direct them right to the auction, have the link right there. And they're bidding and
Our surplus bylaw, is that above and beyond what is required of that?
Allowed,
We're only required to do one, but
you're allowed.
you're allowed.
Okay.
So we're going to do that, are we? Then?
Put an ad in the paper.
Yes, okay. Perfect.
My suggestion was going to be if it's above and beyond the standard practice that we just include in the motion and advertise through the local newspaper, just so it's clear that it's above minimum practices.
Can we not trade these in? Rodriguez, you had a question?
I did, thank you. We just passed something where you can make purchases up to 50,000 without coming through council. Kind of on smaller items like this, why do they need to come through council to sell them? And maybe just for information purposes would be nice, but I'm not sure why you need our approval to sell stuff.
Yes, sir.
Because that is what the current bylaw tells us we have to do. If council's willing, we can certainly look to update that bylaw to be more in line with the modern standards, such as our procurement bylaw. We can look to do that in the coming months. But the surplus bylaw is much older, and therefore the values are lower.
Mr. Vacy?
Yeah, so when we advertise this, are we just gonna advise them to go to gov.net?
there's some pretty expensive items there.
Gov.net and buy stuff?
I would advertise the specific items.
Yes, but then
Yes.
still direct them,
Yes, the
because
public.
Yes, direct them right to
people
go.
are gonna be bidding on that side too, so. Perfect, okay, that's all I had, thank you.
Just
Yes,
a question here. Now, if you're gonna advertise in two different places, that's fine. I have no issue with it. But then you're gonna have to wait for the highest bidder, obviously, because if they're bidding on Gov and then we advertise it in the newspaper at a certain price, I'm sure you're gonna have to go back.
So I think the direction is only to advertise in the newspaper.
Okay, not to,
Any bids would still be received through Gov Deals. So,
okay. No, you know, and then Kristen's thoughts there around why do we have to prove it? Well, I think the reason being because can be some pretty significant dollars involved in some of this equipment sales. And I think some of the questions that could come up is like, why do we even need to sell it? Could we keep it? Could we use it as a spare? All that kind of questions. And I think that's what warrants the discussion. Like, you know, even I was going to ask that tractor, what, you know, should we be keeping it for a backup or should we keep the grader for a backup? That type of question. I mean, I don't know what the answers are and know the end of life, but I think that's why we want some control by the council to see what's going out the door. Maybe we're going to sell this building. Maybe we're going to surplus it. Maybe we're going to surplus a road or make, you know what I mean? Like, so it's, that's how it's been done since I've been here is that we approve the surplusing of the stuff. So, yeah.
If I may,
So,
I was not suggesting that they have free reign to sell the chairs underneath of the ceilings or any of that. It was more of a limit. I believe our CEO discussed there was a limit that they could do things in selling. So I was just saying, within, I mean, that all needs to be discussed and considered.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
That doesn't hurt us to know what's going on.
Exactly.
There you go.
Well, I mean, example,
Totally agree.
we had that old fire truck there, the old pickup truck that was donated. I mean, it was unbelievable. That thing went for $24,000. I mean, every 88.
Yeah.
So some people were saying, you know, 5,000-6,000, what ended up $24,000. So that's just, so
Yeah.
thanks for the
We'll
clarification.
definitely look, it is one of our older bylaws. We'll definitely look to review and update it in the future. We will definitely, as per the updated motion, advertise to the local newspaper and move on from there.
So I'll ask the mover and seconder if I can ask, but I can add and newspapers on this motion, okay? It's going to be auctioned off on government deals, get website and newspaper.
Advertised in the newspaper, yes.
I thought, sorry, I just thought you were stating other forms of advertising. Because you were talking about social media as well, providing links,
Okay, so you just want and
Which
other
we've done.
advertising?
other forms of advertising.
So social media, we would have done inside the house anyways, because that is at no cost. That is staff time. Because it's not our practice to advertise in the newspaper and there's a cost associated with that. That's why I asked the motion to amend to note and advertise in a newspaper, because it's a cost.
Okay. So help me out here, auctioned off on the government deals website and other forms of advertising plus newspaper. Am I right now?
That will suffice me.
I think you should have traded them in, would have been all been taken care of. Any other questions? No? All in favor? Carried. So maybe we take a 3-minute break and then we're gonna have a drain meeting at 6 o'clock. That drain meeting is, yeah,
So where is?
so if you want to leave the room, make it quick. Minutes.
This drainage meeting started. It's 6 or shortly thereafter. I'm John Van Claveren, the Chair of the Drainage Committee, and allow me to welcome you to our drainage meeting this evening. Some of you fellas and ladies are here in chambers with us, property owners, and some are online, I believe. It's always worthwhile to learn about what's happening in the community. This is a formal meeting subject to the standard rules of decorum. We kindly ask your phones are on vibrate or turned off, please. We endeavor to always show respect and kindly expect the same in return. A quick reminder, there is a microphone in the ceiling and it's pretty sensitive, so we'll pick up any side chatter and so on, so just be aware of that. And if you do have a helpful comment or a question, we'll be able to receive that, and we just get you to raise your hand and introduce yourself. Tonight's meeting is the consideration meeting for the Bannister drain, which you folks all know intimately. At this point, if there's any pecuniary interest or conflict of interest, now is the time to declare that. Excuse yourself. The purpose of this consideration meeting is to discuss the technical aspects of the drainage report dated August 19th, 2025 for the Bannister drain. If there are assessment concerns, what the fees will be, these will be addressed at the Court of Revision. Allow me to introduce members of council and staff present. Councillors Bob Woldette, Clifton Rodriguez, Mike Vasey, and online is Alex Bojan. Our deputy mayor and chairing this evening is Nettie McEwen. Our drainage coordinator is here, Ryan Tamming. The drainage clerk, Jessica Wilson. Our Director of Public Works, Paul De Silva, is here. Our CAO, Adam Sabansky. And the engineer on the project is Josh Warner on behalf of R. Dobbin Engineering. Lisa Smeekins, our Executive Clerk, is also here. Mr. Warner, the floor is yours, sir, if you would kindly provide a summary of your report.
Thank you. Through the chair, I will give a brief overview of the report and then make myself available for any comments or questions from landowners or council. So the Bannister Drain Report has been prepared under Section 78 of the Drainage Act in order to make improvements to the existing drainage works. The original request on the drain was the replacement of a culvert. At the site meeting, it was identified that the governing bylaws did not provide a mechanism fairly assess out maintenance of the open channel and tile drain, or specifications and assessment provisions to replace or repair culverts along the length of the drainage works. Therefore, it was requested by the town to have a new schedule of maintenance prepared for the open channel and tile portion of the drain. It was requested that culverts along the length of the drainage works be investigated for replacement, and those not required to be replaced were to be specified for future replacement, so it could be completed under maintenance. The town requested that a basin be installed on the east side of Blue Heron Road, approximately 160 meters south of the open channel portion of the Bannister drain, as it had previously been removed. Also at the site meeting, the landlord of the parcel with roll number 30-125 requested that the drain be rerouted through their property in order to better facilitate farming practices. Based on our investigation and information received from the initial site meeting and draft report meeting, the report proposes a replacement of 6 culverts, removal of 1 culvert, clean out of the Hillsborough Road culvert, and a culvert installed in a revised location to do the move off. The remainder of the culverts have been specified for future replacement. The closed portion of the Bannister drain is proposed to be replaced across Blue Heron Road as the culvert is slotted for replacement and the tile drain runs adjacent it. Schedule of maintenance has been developed for the closed and open portions of the drainage works. Basin is proposed on the east side of Blue Heron Road at the request of the road authority. The open channel is proposed to be rerouted on the property with roll number 30-125, and the section 65 reports have been included in order to revise assessments for maintenance for parcel with roll number 30-098. The total estimated cost of the project is $455,751. At this time, I'm available for any comments or questions.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. Oh, we've got a full house here. Any questions from before tonight? I know we've had couple of other introductory meetings, and they were very productive, a lot of good questions and comments. Is there any questions here further to Mr. Warner tonight? Or? How about on council? Any? Yes, Councillor Rodriguez.
Thank you. Oh, just going back to the beginning of your report where you stated it requires from the Conservation Authority. Do you anticipate issues with that, and are the property owners aware that it might be a costly process should it not?
So we've had through the chair, so we've had correspondence with the Conservation Authority, and they've basically we have email correspondence stating that they're satisfied with the project as proposed. We will, once the report goes through, we will submit a permit application, but from their perspective, yeah, should have all set to go.
Thank you.
Does Councillor Bojan have any questions? I can't really eyeball them here. Councillor Bojan, any questions there?
No, nothing for me right now.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on council have any questions?
No, sir.
Jessica, any written questions come in? Okay. I have a motion signed by Mr. Councillor Bob Ovett and Councillor Vacy that the report by Josh Warner, engineer of R. Dobbin Engineering Incorporated, dated August 19th, 2025, regarding the banister drain be adopted as presented, and that provisional bylaw 96 of 2025 be taken as having been read first and second time, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw. All in favor? Carried. Motion signed by Councillor Wolvett and Vacy that the consideration meeting banister drain be adjourned. All in favor? It's carried. Madam Deputy Mayor, I'll turn gavel back over to you.
Thank you. You want me to stay if you like, but we're on with
Pretty riveting.
more business.
Yeah, so you're trying to put stuff.
Blame the
Okay, so, while following the adoption, like the provisional reading of the bylaw, we will schedule the quarter revision meeting. Everyone on the drain will receive a notice, when that meeting will take place. If anyone wishes to appeal their assessment, they need to fill out an appeal, in writing and submit it to the drainage clerk, 10 days prior to, if not, it's up to the court to decide whether or not to hear an appeal if it's received in that timeline less than 10 days before the
Thank you, Mr. Camming. I might add something that at the quarter revision, if a landowner appeals their assessment, it's granted, the appeal is granted, then someone else has to pick up that change. So either way, the cost remains the same. Disbursement changes somewhat. Just so you're aware there.
So, is that?
Does that answer it, friend? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Any other questions?
yeah, that's right. 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
His guess is like, they're all done and then no one.
Oh, it'll be a fair amount of people. It's probably.
To number 8.9. Moved by Mr. Wolvett, seconded by Mr. Van Claveren, that the report prepared by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated September 15, 2025, regarding review and management of unimproved, unassumed, and surplus road allowances be received, and that the policies for the management of unassumed, unimproved, and surplus roads be approved, and that staff be directed to complete a municipal-wide review of unopened and underutilized road allowances and bring forward a list of roads for surplus declaration and divestment in accordance with the town's surplus lands bylaw. Any question on this one? No, sure? Oh, hands did come up. Okay, Mr. Wolbert?
Yeah, it's about time. We've been asking for this for quite a long time. We'd like to get it done before the next council takes over, you know. I mean, you know, we got stuff sitting there.
Yeah.
We got roads that there's bridges on that we don't need to, we don't want to replace and stuff. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
Ms. Rodriguez, did you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, no, I think it's an excellent ask, and glad it's come to fruition, because I can see by your examples where sometimes there wasn't enough information and then you're coming back because now there's more information. So it's nice to have a nice consistent flow to that. How does this all, I mean, it's nice to have all these policies, but then to implement them if you got into the new asset management software. So that'll obviously flow nicely as well too, right? It kind of will do most of this work as far as following the process and not having to rely on different sources.
The chair, yeah, I think it'll certainly be helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, you done? Oh.
I did have one more question on the mapping, sorry. Mr.
No,
Boothby.
go ahead.
You identified some properties already, or roads, sorry. That could possibly be surplus, and there was no landlocking. It was hard to tell on that map.
Yeah, so through the chair, some of the roads that we've identified, there are they're either very straightforward or they're not. So there could be potential landlocked parcels. So we would be looking at maybe surplusing only a portion of the road allowance. So they would still have access from a different direction. So I know that's not exactly clear in the map. We plan to bring back something a lot more detailed in the future, specifically if we're going to be making the recommendations that we do surplus something. And there's also a lot of work involved with contacting agencies, utilities, making sure that no utilities are on that road, because we wouldn't divest something that another utility is currently using, for example. So there's just a lot of work in the background that has to be done first. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Vacy, did you?
That answered mine.
Here's Mr. Wilder.
This particular policy here is only speaking of roads. What about surplus lands, buildings, anything that could be surplus? Are we looking at any of that?
We do have a surplus lands bylaw. The direction previously provided to council was after the, as Mr. De Silva noted in his report, after the discussion on unimproved rural roads was specifically directed to roads. If council as a whole feels that it would be worth further into facilities and lands, we can do so. I would suggest that we not do so though until after we get the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, as there could be items in there which could contribute to that. And then once you've received the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, you can direct staff to look into some of those recommendations, as well as look for other items which may be surplus to the town's needs.
So like properties that tax arrears, stuff like that's all dealt with through.
That is very separate.
That type of stuff. And
tax arrears is totally different legislation.
Different.
Wouldn't be part of that discussion. We'd only be looking at lands currently owned by the municipality, which could be deemed surplus to our needs.
you know, I'm not aware, been here a long time, but I'm not aware of that we have a whole lot of property that we would that are available for surplus. Do we? Like, I don't
There's
know.
one or two lands that we have not decided how to address yet. There's some parks that are underutilized. However, under previous direction of council and committee, I will not suggest they be surplus at this time until you receive a report from the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. So like I said, I think the master plan will be your kind of emphasis to start that discussion. And then you can direct staff to dive deeper into what lands we hold that are truly surplus to our needs, or this may be surplus to our needs.
That's fair enough. Thank you.
Mr. Vacy?
When we get around to that report,
Yes.
can we have like on a map or something of the properties we do own?
Yes.
Cause I know there's properties out there that I didn't know we owned. Every time I see one, I didn't know we own that, like that kind of thing that, and maybe we can utilize some of that property in with this Parks and Rec master plan, or have this property we can. Just so, for me mostly, but it'd be nice to know all the little pieces that we own here, there and scattered all over the place.
Development. Or
Yeah, what I was saying, that whether we deem it later on as
I think there's very.
surplus, but most of them it'll
that
be,
are not Parks and Recreation related, maybe just a few. So we can always lump those properties in with
Yeah,
the
just as-
discussions.
for our
But
knowledge.
again, I think we want, that is a discussion in regards to service levels and utter utilization of existing infrastructure. So that's a bigger discussion than I think just what might be surplus. And I think we'd want to start with the discussion after the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And then some of those smaller properties that we know that could be better utilized can be brought into part of that discussion. We definitely want to keep roads separate from municipal lands. But I think that's something we can definitely move along in the future.
Any more questions? All in favor? Carried. So 8.10, which is the maintenance and the agreement with Jacobs has been done. We'll move on to moved by Mr. Rovett, second by Mr. Van Claveren, that the report by Norma Roddick Priest, treasurer dated September 19th, 2025, regarding the 2024 financial statements be received, and that the 2024 financial statements be posted on the town's website and submitted to the applicable provincial ministries to fulfill statutory reporting requirements. Are there any questions on this early submission? No questions?
happy to,
Well, it's time now. Right?
happy to see that, like I say, there was no issues, there's no. To me, what I read through, not being an accountant, was you guys are doing a very good job, so. Kudos to you, so we don't all go to jail and we have money in the bank.
So it says here like that it's submitted to the applicable provincial ministries. Is there a time date that they want that information? Or
The end of September.
the end of September?
ooh.
Ah, I just wondered if maybe you were getting in the nick of time, yeah. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Moved by Mr. Van Claveren, second by Mr. Wolfett, that bylaw 61 of 2025 for the plan 28 and 486 drain, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works in the town of Plympton-Wyoming in the county of Lemmon, be taken as having been read a third time and finally passed on this 24th day of September 2025, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Any questions on this one? No questions? No comments from Blue Point?
No, it's done. It's there.
Okay,
So
all in favor?
time to grumble now.
Carried. Moved by Mr. Wolfett, second by Mr. Van Claveren, that bylaw 71 of 2025 for the Field View Estates drain, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works in the town of Plympton, Wyoming, in the county of Lemmon, be taken as having been read a third time and finally passed on this 24th day of September 2025, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. Our organizational bylaw. Moved by Mr. Vacy, second by Ms. Rodriguez, that bylaw 103 of 2025 being a bylaw to appoint officers, board and committee members and employees of the corporation of the town of Plympton, Wyoming be taken as having been read 3 times and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. So I'm thinking that members, how many members have been changed on this?
Just
Special events
Yeah.
committee? Okay, any questions? All in favor? Carried. Golly, we've gotten to correspondence, action required. It's moved by Mr. Wolvat, second by Mr. Van Claveren. The correspondence suggests the following motion: that council receive the correspondence from Enbridge regarding phase 3 of the natural gas expansion program, NGEP, and supports the included draft resolution and draft support letter. Any questions on this? Any comments? Go ahead, Ms. Redmond.
Totally support it and hope that all of council does. Yeah, that's good.
Mr.
So just wanted to let council know that the consultation period has closed, but I made sure to submit comments on the town's behalf. Those comments highlighted council's previous support of rural gas expansion. Highlighting the fact that it's important to agricultural property owners. It is important to homeowners to ensure reasonable cost of living, and it's also important for the town's future economic development.
Very good.
Yep, okay. Since the deadline is passed, what are we doing here?
The deadline for comments was passed. The deadline for the motion is not. So I submitted the comments on behalf of the town, but Enbridge still needs this motion to show support to the province. So the commenting period through ISO might have passed, but Enbridge still wants and has asked that we submit these documents.
Attachment 1 and attachment 2 for clarification. Yes.
If I may interrupt, there's a resolution and a letter.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then number 3 is off the table. Basically. Because the
It's already
deadline
done,
is
yeah.
passed.
So number 3 is information only. I have submitted comments on the town's behalf based on council's previous directions on the matter.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Next item, moved by Mr. Wolvet, seconded by Mr. Van Claveren. The correspondence suggests the following motion: that council received a letter from the family of Jack and Evelyn Scott submitted by Donna Scott, and that council supports the naming of diamond number 1 at Arnold Manili Park to the Jack and Evelyn Scott ball diamond. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you, carried. Moved by Mr. Van Claveren, seconded by Mr. Wolvet, that the correspondence, items A to C, relating to recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. Any questions? Any remarks? Yes, Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you. So item B. I just wanted to let everybody know, and I wanted to get it in there because and we did talk a little bit about it at our Conservation Authority meeting. That they are proposing an 8.1% increase. They were asked by some of council members there or on the board that they try and curtail some of those costs, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to do. I think, wow, the one thing that stood out for me was, well, there is compensation benefit increases. They had to redo we call that the pay scale thing. And they hadn't done that in like 30 years or something. So that did create an increase. So that's pretty standard. But for the last 3 years in a row, one of the biggest sticking points that's been presented to us is the fee freeze for fees that you could charge to people who need permits or whatever, any of their fee schedule, they've been mandated by the government not to, so that was, one of the big topics. Mr. Phillips stated that, this is year number 3, and they would have had 150% increase in their fees by now if they had been allowed to keep increasing their fees, which, would take pressure off of the taxpayer. So what I would like to ask, a motion, to direct staff to present a letter, to the board of directors, just asking if they could be mindful of, keeping the fee increase close to inflation rates or just above, which is what a couple other, somewhere around the 3% mark is what other municipalities ask for, 2%, 3%, so whatever you guys decide.
And especially, you might want to add, and especially since you have less property to look after.
Oh.
Oh, you don't want to?
No, that was the topic, let me tell you, which, I don't think anybody was too happy about with me, but. But I would say, because a letter is coming for council. Just about that, about, you know, especially through COVID, how all these conservation lands were, you know, vital during that time for people, but. Explain probably wouldn't work in our jurisdiction because our conservation lands were usable during that time. So there's different things that'll be on there to help understand why, and I think it's a good idea to put those letters out there. But yeah, we don't have any conservation land in here. That's makes it harder. Yes. Unless we want to donate some land for cows. String cows.
But wouldn't that be a deal with the actual farmer though?
Yeah, that's
That
true.
would-
That's
I
true.
don't think we have big enough lots to
No.
raise cattle on.
Well, they can cut grass in the parks or something, can't they?
Well, it's fine with me.
Traveling cows.
Yes.
If I could just clarify some wording, your worship, with
Yeah, go ahead.
Council Rodriguez, so that staff be directed to send a letter to the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority on behalf of council to request that the Conservation Authority, I was writing that while you said the second
Yeah.
sentence, be
Consider.
mindful or ensure, I want to make sure your wording is reflected.
Yeah, consider,
Consider,
yeah. 3% or less increase.
Okay. I mean, it can't hurt to ask. I mean, it's more and more becoming a competition, competing interest in those types of levy increases take away from our ability to do more things that we need to do in our municipal core services, right? So there has to be some sort of breaking point.
so consider a 3% or less levy increase for 2026.
Yeah, would you,
Whatever
will I read that
Yep.
over? So, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we need a seconder.
I'll second that.
I hope you can read my writing.
I hope it can too. Moved by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Van Claveren, that staff be directed to send a letter to St. Clair Region Conservation Authority on behalf of council to request the SCRCA to consider a 3% or less levy increase for 2026. And it stops there. It doesn't add anything about not having any extra property, okay? Any more questions? Oh,
Should we be CCing that to Bob Bailey too? I mean, we've been putting up with this conservation authority in significant increases for years. And every year, you go back and look at every year we have the same issue. Too big. Nobody else can increase their rates by that amount and get away with it. Yet the conservation authority, like, what do we have left? We don't have any parks here or anything. And it's significant, that kind of an increase. I mean, if we tried to do that here at the council table for our budget, you know, there'd be an uproar. So, and the reason I say maybe it should be CC'd to Mr. Bailey also is that the provincial government are trying to get these guys in up their expenses and stuff like that. So sending them a letter is good. But in the past, we almost do it every year. Not only that, we invite them here to explain their, and it hasn't did any good at all. So, but I think the way to go with these guys anymore is to talk to the provincial government and say, hey, these guys are a bit out of control.
So will we copy Mr. Bailey?
So.
Yes, no, yes,
Okay, whatever it takes.
Sure.
okay.
It'll hurt.
And see-
I'm sure the other people sitting at your table, the other municipalities are not happy that kind of increase.
It's, if I may, it's difficult because you have jurisdictions within the Conservation Authority that tremendously benefit from all these levies. Right? The funds are directed down towards Sydenham River, or the dam, or different things. So of course they want to embrace. It makes sense if you're a benefiting party. And then it's hard when you're not a benefiting party. So it's much of a tug of war there too, right? So.
Okay, so. Well, all in favor? Carried. And then they won't even take us on any tours anymore. Is it that
I'm gonna ask if the lunches can be cut next year. Maybe that'll help save some money.
right? Okay.
That was a motion that arose.
We have to finish that one.
one. And so now we are doing new business.
Finish the one in your
Which
hand.
one? This one?
Need to see.
Okay. Mr. Van Claveren, seconded by Mr. Wolbert, that correspondence items A to C. Are we leaving B out though?
We did a
Just
separate
A
one.
and C, A and C, not 2C, right?
Well, you want to receive it still, so you can leave it in.
Fine, we're
Yeah.
gonna receive it too. Relating to recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. Any questions? No? All in favor? Carried. Now can we go to new business? Anyone? Got any new business? No? Okay. All right, Mr. Willett.
I don't think this can happen real quick, but the gentleman approached the bench here in his meeting, not being able to hear anything. And I gotta admit, at this end of the table, many times I can't hear what's going on down there. Now, I don't have hearing aids. I don't think I need them, but sometimes the voices go down. And I'm not the only one. So I think in the future, I don't think this is going to happen right away, but we need some kind of microphones in here. People have complained to me before, they can't hear. They can hear me because I'm pretty loud, but we really do need to be able to hear what. There's lots of times here I sit here and, you look over at me and I'm like this, like we need some microphones or something.
Yes, Mr. Smetensky, you got an answer?
May not happen until the next council, but.
So I know
Yes.
shortly after COVID, we did purchase microphones. The council at the time did not prefer the microphones because on forgetting to hit the button. So I refused to throw those out and kept them. So they will work with the existing system. So in theory, what we could do is have Evolution's remove or split the system so we could choose which microphone system to use. So if we're just having a general discussion in here, not a council meeting, and then we're on Zoom, we could use that. Or for council, we could use the microphones. We would have to purchase a new microphone for the speaker, because if you're going to broadcast in here with sound so everyone can hear, you need to make sure the people speaking at the lectern also have a microphone. Additionally, we would have to purchase a speaker system, and it had to be wired through the existing AV so that it doesn't reverb through the whole space. That has been identified as a need in our AODA plan. It's in the long-term capital plan. Given we just spent a fair bit of money on this system, specifically the new hands-free microphone, it's one of those items we've been pushing off. But we can definitely at least price it out, incorporate it into the nearer term of our AODA master plan. And that way it's there and we know we are working towards a change.
Well, like I say, the gentleman approached the bench chair and said like, can't hear what's going on here. So bring it up. I'm not saying,
His hearing aids on?
pardon me.
Did he have his hearing aids in?
He did, but
We just-
it is an issue at times. I mean, John, what do you, I mean, what do you think? You and I talk about it.
We do. Brought it up before also.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not something, Madam Chair, that we have to worry about tomorrow, but budget wise, maybe new council wise, I don't know, but it needs to be addressed in the future.
Sure.
Thank you for that. That's all I have.
Mr. Van Claveren, you got anything?
No, nothing further, nothing further.
Mr. Vacy, you have any new business?
Just a couple events coming up. The Misfits are doing their poker run, motorcycle run on October 4th. So it's including classic cars this year. Anybody who's wanted out, that's at the Lions Hall. I think registration is 10 o'clock. And save the date, November 8th is Dueling Pianos, which again, the money all goes to Christmas for Everyone on that one as well. And tickets will be out shortly for that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And Ms. Rodriguez, you have any new business?
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna speak up for you. That way and that way. I can't help my voice,
I
so
didn't say it with you.
I'm glad
was
you
Nancy.
brought it up, because a lot of people can't hear, so. But if I can segue into your statement about the Conservation Authority, escalating costs, I also have prepared a draft motion to review, that I want to send, if council agrees, to the Premier of Ontario, Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Conservation Ontario, all municipalities, and of course our provincial and federal representatives, regarding the fee freeze that has happened with the Conservation Authority over all conservation authorities for the last 3 years, which is putting a lot of strain on our municipal tax base. It's supposed to be a cost recovery model, not download overages to the tax base. That shouldn't be the model that we work with. So basically, I'm just letting you know, Erin will put it on the next agenda to allow everybody time to kind of look at it themselves and before it comes back.
So that's a heads up. Thank you.
Now, can I just ask a question on that, if you don't mind? You being on the executive board, what kind of position does that put you in? Reason I ask that, 'cause like when you're head of any committee, I don't care what your committee it is here in council, you kind of represent your committee first. So first, does it put you in any particular position?
I'm not sure that this is a negative against the Conservation Authorities. I'm actually sticking up for the Conservation Authority and our tax base at the same time. I'm saying to the provincial government, their whole premise of freezing fees that these conservation authorities can implement was to push the mandate of being able to have less red tape and costs in the way of developers to build more housing. So in that process, we still want them to do all the work to push all that housing and get all those permits out there, but you took away their ability to increase those costs with the cost of living even, to keep up pace. So because of that, they're not providing enough money to implement what they want done, the government, and now it's our tax base that's picking up that cost.
Okay,
So it's a positive.
I'll read the letter, but
Thank you.
that's,
You can get more details next time.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
of
No,
course.
no.
You can go on and on.
I just.
Okay. So we're all done. Mr. Bougen, do you have any new business?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All good. Okay. Thank you. So we're all done with the new business, and then we are going to go into closed session. Moved by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Vacy, that council move into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended For the following reasons, items A and B, solicitor's client privilege, section 239(2)(f). Advice subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Everyone any questions on that? All in favor? Carried. Line for a while, and we'll be back when we're done.